Let's talk about mistakes that I made in my first year of owning a private practice. Hi there, I'm Alysha, and I am a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and I own my own private practice, and I teach other psych NPs how to find freedom and balance by opening their own private practices as well. So those of you that know me personally, professionally, online, in person, you'll know that I'm really open, and I'm really open to talking about the mistakes that I've made in my business because I think that it really helps other people to learn and avoid those mistakes. So today we're going to go through 4 major mistakes that I made when in my first year of opening a private practice and a little bit on how to avoid them. So mistake number 1. This is not talking to anybody about opening my private practice. I told my mom not to post it on Facebook. I told people, I didn't tell people. Like, my husband knew and my family knew, but I was not talking to all these amazing professional contacts that I had made through the years. By the time I had opened my private practice, I had worked in psychiatry for almost a decade at that point. And so I was not talking about it. I was not telling therapists that I used to work with that I'm now open for business, or psychiatrists that I used to work with, like, hey, your practice is open, you could send me your overflow. I was not, and talking about your opening your business to your personal and professional contacts are really important, because that's marketing, and that's one of the easiest ways of marketing, is because those people already know you and trust you. Like, for example, it doesn't even have to be mental health contacts. I have had family members that have had friends that say, hey, I'm looking for a mental health professional. Do you know anybody? And they're like, yeah, my family member, Alysha. I've definitely had a lot of professional contacts send me patients, but I've also had a lot of personal contacts send me patients somehow. And so that was a huge mistake, was not telling everybody that I knew that I was open for business. I was so afraid that I would fail that I just kept it to myself. And I learned eventually that those contacts really brought me a lot of patients over time once I finally was willing to talk about it. Mistake number 2 was wanting to say yes to every patient that contacted me. And this included patients that were like slightly rude or demanding, saying, will you see me ASAP? And the reality is, and I'm not talking about people that really need to be seen ASAP, because if they need to be seen ASAP, they probably need to go to the hospital. But if it's someone that is appropriate for outpatient level care, but they don't understand why you can't just see them the next day, a lot of times that can translate as they're going to be demanding in other ways, and they're going to expect you to see them at a drop of a hat as care goes on. And so not noticing some of those red flags was a big mistake on my part in the beginning, because it led to, again, some of those patterns that I described. And so if you get any red flags, if you get people that are, rude or condescending or demeaning, or, I need to see you right away. Why, why don't you have open spots? What's, asking about your schedule, things like that. Those are just things that and a lot of others are red flags at the beginning. And so being okay with maybe saying I might not be the best fit because I don't do urgent visits is totally fair, because as your schedule builds, you're not going to be able to accommodate urgent visits like that all the time. And so you just want to set realistic expectations. Number 3, not setting solid enough boundaries in the beginning around my time. I wanted to respond to my patients as fast as I could and be as available as I possibly could for them in the beginning, and that sometimes led to me answering messages at 10 o'clock at night, and that just wasn't sustainable for me. So I had to learn over time that I needed to explain to patients what my normal business hours are and when they should expect a response from me, so that allows people to know, okay, if I message Alysha at 8 o'clock, I'm probably going to hear from her the next day, and so they can plan accordingly. But I just wanted people to see me as, a good practitioner and available. And so I want you to know that can still happen with you having good boundaries around your time. And number 4, undercharging. This is a huge one. I really felt like I wanted people to be able to access care with me, and so I had my rates well below the common rate in my area, and I thought that that would lead to a lot more patients coming to see me, which wasn't necessarily true. Actually, when I bumped my rates to a more normal to high rate, I actually got more inquiries, because what happens oftentimes when your rates are severely low, people wonder why. Like, if you see a car that's typically super expensive for a much lower price, what do you think? You say, what's wrong with it, right? You're not like, oh, that's a great deal. If it's severely, I mean, if it's like within the expected range and a little bit lower, you're like, oh, maybe, you might say that's a good deal. But if it's significantly under, you're going to say why. So it led not only to that, but also people rate shopping, where they didn't really care if they saw me or anybody else, and they just wanted to know if I was the cheapest in town. That doesn't always attract the ideal patients that you might be looking for. But with that said, having a sliding scale or having some way within your practice where you offer a lower fee can be a really awesome way to provide access to those patients where your typical rates are not usually within their budget. However, developing a sliding scale or developing pro bono work usually should come later as you need a little bit of time to stabilize your business and the income in your business. So once you have a stable income, you can start to do the math on how many sliding scale spots you can realistically do. Because also, you don't want to have any resentment towards patients or feeling like you're stuck at this much lower salary and feeling stressed or stuck or financially strapped. You just don't want to get into that place, because then that can provide like a weird dynamic with your patients when you feel like they're not paying your worth. And that's not their fault. That's what they agreed on in the beginning. So that's more something you have to set up and you have to work on. And we really can't care for others unless we care for ourselves. If you are constantly worried about if you can pay your bills in your business and your personal bills, you're not going to be able to give as much as you want to your patients. All right, I hope that learning from my mistakes was helpful for you guys. As I said, I am really open about these things. I have no problem talking about the things that didn't work for me, because they led to me developing things that really work for me. And so if you found this video to be helpful, know that these type of topics and even more is what I go into in my full private practice mentorship program. And so the link is down below if you want to read a little bit about my mentorship program, what it's all about. If you are an aspiring or new business owner looking for some support and a step-by-step guide on how to open and run a successful business, I'm here for you. So thank you for watching this video. If it was helpful for you, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.